thanks y'all for coming. I know it's probably a nice blustery night, and to be Saturday night, 7 o'clock, hanging out with me, I am really grateful. Now, bikinis, boxers, briefs. What does that honestly mean when you talk about bikinis, boxers, and briefs? So out there in the crowd, who has their thong on right now? Anybody got their thong on? How about some just regular old granny panties? Anybody got those? Now, my favorite. The full-fledged boxers. No? Now, my favorite one. You ready? Who is sitting out there right now, full-fledged, honest-to-God commando? The little red lights out there right now besides my bright face, I can tell you who it is. And I want you to know, I spent a good portion of my growing up, from my teens to my very early 20s, full-on commando. And I didn't even know it. Honest to God, I had no idea I was really on thin ice. I had no idea what that meant until I ended up in treatment center for drug alcohol addiction. And they did a battery of tests on me in 1979, and I found out that I was crippled with learning disabilities, dyslexic, and, believe it or not, ADHD. Can't believe that happened to me. But because of that intervention, I ended up being sent to a lady by the name of Cookie Mastbaum. And Cookie Mastbaum came into my life. And I want you to know, I am incredibly, incredibly grateful for Cookie Mastbaum laying the foundation that she laid for me. Because of what she did, I want you to know something. I'm here for a reason. And I'm very grateful I'm here. This is a planned event in my life. It's not a surprise I'm here. I meant to be here because of what happened for me when Cookie stepped into my life and said, Joe, are you willing to work with me? Are you willing to listen to me? Are you willing to do the things that I'm asking you to do? Now believe me, it's not easy when you're 21 years old and you're sitting at Cookie Mastbaum's desk in 1979 to answer those questions. Imagine right now if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson walked in. You know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has arms the size of friggin' trees. His legs are the size of elephant legs. He is a big freaking man. And he's going to walk up and he's going to sit down next to you. That's a big man. I'm 21, almost 22, and I'm riding my motorcycle up to Cookie Mastbaum's office. And I have my chaps on, because motorcycle riders wear chaps. I have my gloves on. I have my leather jacket on. I even have my cut-off sleeved Levi over the top of that says Dry Riders. I was riding with a group of motorcycle guys called the Dry Riders. And I would walk into Cookie's office with that stuff on. I'm a pretty big guy. Cookie Mastbaum was a learning specialist. She specialized in teaching people how to learn. But at that time, her whole main job was teaching kids, young kids, not 21, 22-year-old guys. So I'd walk in, see these kids, and I would sit down next to them, just like having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sit down next to you. but I like kids. My job I really wanted to do was I wanted to be a dad. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be a husband with kids. Even at 21, I wanted that in my life. Could you ask me those questions already? I'm thinking about those questions, and I'm thinking, yeah. But I like my life. I like riding my motorcycle. Believe me, I like it. When you kick over a 750 Triumph motorcycle, the sound that thing makes is awesome. Especially for a kid like me. It's awesome. And I get a rush. And I get the attitude. Because I'm wearing my jacket, I'm wearing my chaps. But I'm also in this thing with these kids. And Cookie has a daughter named Marnie, 9 years old, in that office. And I'm trying to get her to interact with me, I'm trying to get the kids to interact with me, and they don't want anything to do with me. And I can't figure out why. So after a while, another week, I show up, park my bike, come in, try to get the kids to do it again. Cookie sees what's going on, and she pulls to her office, and we have our session. And Cookie starts to do the basic foundation work that she was starting to do with me. She said, look at me. I need you to really think about something. Are you Joe, the dry rider, motorcycle rider? Or are you Joe that I'm going to work with? Because I need you willing, like I've asked you, are you willing to listen to me? Are you willing to learn? And what she's really asking me is, am I willing to change? That's what she's really asking me. Am I willing to change who I am? And she said, you can't be both. You can't ride your bike and you can't be Joe that wants to interact with the kids. Because you've told me already you want to be married. You want to have kids. Those two things aren't going to work out for you if you're going to keep on doing these. Two lifestyles just are too different. So I did what I had to do. The first change started to happen in my life. Sold the bike, got rid of the stuff, and even today, little Marnie Massbaum is a friend of mine. It worked. I started to change. And Cookie did a lot more other things for me. She said, what is it that you really want to do? What is it that you want to do, Joe Lair? My mom and dad thought that I'd make a fantastic plumber, a fantastic welder, be a tradesman. That was what they thought of me. I'm a big kid, you know, it's like when the hay needed to get moved for the horses, I had to do the moving. When all that stuff had to happen, it was always Joe's got the strength, Joe's got the stamina, Joe can do it. He's good with his hands. But for the first time in a really, really long time, someone asked me, what is it that I wanted to do? And I had an answer for it because I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor, family counselor. I wanted to work in the drug and alcohol halfway house system that I had come out of because I was so grateful for what they gave me. They gave me my life back. They gave me the way to live. And I wanted to pass that on for other people. So Cookie said, that's great. Let's do that. Problem was, how do I do it? I'm not a good student. And Cookie said, that's why you're here. I will teach you how to learn. And she did. We got through the counseling classes, we got through all that stuff. But the one problem I had, the very first semester I'm in the classes was, I had to do some reflective counseling class. How many people understand reflective counseling? Reflecting back what you're hearing. Because I had a really good trap. It's like, how many people understand what RTP is? Ready to pounce. You hear maybe the first sentence, maybe the first 6 words of the person that's talking to you, even though they're talking for 5 minutes, you already only heard that thing and you're ready to pounce on them. The minute they shut their mouth long enough for you to tell them they're stupid. tell them they're wrong. Tell them why they're stupid. That's what I had. I was a good Catholic boy. I had combat language therapy in my brain, so that if the highest voice won, the biggest push across the room won, I didn't understand what it meant to listen. And Cookie started to teach me what it meant to hear what people had to say. She taught me a lot. She taught me some things that were incredible. But to really listen to somebody, really hear them, that blew me away. Because I had lived my life ready to pounce all my life. So I wasn't hearing people. I was just thinking that they were an enemy to be beat, an enemy to take out, an enemy to wipe the floor with. That's all people were to me, was just an enemy. But to start to listen to them and hear them, it was amazing what people had to say. It was awesome to hear them say, you know, Joe, and I'd listen. You know, Joe, and I'd listen. And Cookie gave me that gift. I hope you get that gift someday. Maybe it's already happened for you. Maybe you already understand that your friends are your friends. They're not somebody that's trying to take you out. Maybe you understand that your wife or your spousal sidekick or your girlfriend or your boyfriend isn't really out there to kick your ass. They're really there to help you. Maybe they like you for real. Maybe they honestly care. And if you're twitching, I'm glad.
Get slapped on the back here.
Yeah. Because I told you a couple times already, I wanted to be a husband. I wanted to be a dad. That's my life. And it came time I needed to leave Cookie because I got a job. She helped me through my counseling degree. She helped me get a job, but the job, I had to leave. So last month I was with her. She laid out some plans for me. And she said, you came to me and you were willing to learn. You were willing to change. And I need you to go where you're going and find the next person that's going to help you, just like you allowed me to help you. Because if you don't have someone strong enough in your life to keep you going down that road, what value are you? What do you have to offer the person that you want to get married to? What are you going to have to give of yourself that you can keep on going on? So I did. I found a guy, and he started working with me. And after a couple of years, the main thing he said to me was, we've been together a while, and you're a great person. You are willing to listen. You're willing to do the things. But the main thing that's holding you back now is you're stuck. And the best gift I can give you is this. You need to be with your family. You need to be with them, and you need to learn what it's like to be an adult with your family. Because you're so used to being beat up. You're so used to being run over. You're so used to just not even getting engaged with them. You just shut down. And he said, it's holding you back. You need to go there. You need to do that. So I did. I didn't understand that all the things I had done previously got me ready for the girl I was going to meet. I'd been dating women. I'd been doing the things I needed to do, but I didn't understand that the little redhead that was bouncing around upper Montana was also learning the things that she needed to learn to meet a bald-headed guy. So within the first week of me being home, I came across a girl that said, hey, you know, I see you got some skis on your car. Are you a pretty good skier? I said, yes, I am. And she said, would you help me? I've been trying for a couple of years. Would you mind just skiing with me? So I skied with her, and we had a great time. Ski season ended, and she saw me packing my bike. She says, wow, you ride mountain bikes? It's like, yes, ma'am, I do. Would you teach me how to ride a mountain bike? So, of course, I did. And how many people understand what we call it Mystic Lake. That's what we used to ride. I think they call it the Bozeman Trail now, where you ride to the bridge, and there's that little goat trail that goes along there that takes you right to the lake. That was our very first ride. That was what I broke her in with. I thought, if that girl can ride that goat trail, she can ride with me. I think, honestly, she maybe pedaled 6 times, and she ran the rest with the bike. But you know what? The tenacious Tanya that I know today is who I've been married to for 23 years. So we just kept on doing the things we were doing. And we're teasing one day, and I went to go bite her on the nose because we were just messing around. We were friends. Just for a couple of years, we were just friends, messing around, having fun. But I went to bite her on the nose, and I kissed her instead. And I went, wow, that's awesome. And I can honestly tell you that it's the best thing I ever did was to become friends with the girl that I wanted to marry, because it's awesome to be friends and then get married. Now, how many of y'all are married? And I want you to know we got married because Tanya's family is a split family. Her mom and dad ended up getting divorced. My mom and dad stayed married for 50 years, and then my dad died. And we talked a lot about that before we got married. And we came up that we were going to get married with a no divorce clause in our marriage. And what does a no divorce clause mean? It means that we're willing, just like Cookie, just like the other person in my life, just like I need to be with my own wife, I'm willing to listen. I may not always like it. And believe me, if you all have been married for as long as we've been married 23 years, you understand there are some fights that just aren't fun. But the greatest thing that's ever happened for me is in the last, I can't tell you how many years, I have not shut the door of my house like I used to, where the paintings on the wall would rattle. And all the men understand this really well, so I'll just understand if you just smile and nod your head at me. But I haven't called my wife those words that you should never ever say to your wife in years and years and years. I am willing to listen to her. The neat thing about it is she's been right more than she's been wrong. But because all the time we spend on those bikes, and believe me, I used to love to ride bikes. I would do 200 to 300 miles a week on my bike. And because bikes seats are so comfortable, and especially for guys, it shuts down the sperm count. My wife would ride her bike. She would ski. And because of all the exercise we were doing, believe me, we had a nice period of deep shallowness in our life. She had maybe a 3% body fat content, and she just wasn't producing eggs. And we went to the doctor because we wanted to have babies. Like I've told you, man, we wanted to be a mom. We wanted to be a dad. And that was our plan, to get married, have kids, have that dream. And Dr. Ramsey said, all those years on that bike, your sperm count is almost not much. And Tanya, because of all the bike riding and all that stuff that you like to do, running and all that, you're just not producing eggs. Babies just aren't going to happen for you guys. And so we went and thought about it. And we thought about it, and we thought about it. And we decided we just wouldn't have kids. And then Thanksgiving came. And my tradition is, at my house and Thanksgiving, you eat your Thanksgiving dinner and then you decorate the house outside. And I'm out there putting up the Christmas lights. And little Paige next door comes over to help me put up those Christmas lights. And she's an adorable, adorable, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, vivacious little girl that's like 6 years old and just funnier than you can believe funny. And I'm having a blast. And we get all the lights up. And I come back in Shut the door, Paige goes home, and I look at Tanya, I said, we're going to adopt. Because I want to be a mom. I want to be a dad, she wants to be a mom. And we decided, okay, we will adopt. Now, that's Thursday. Friday afternoon, we get a phone call that one of my nieces is losing her son into the Department of Family Services in New Mexico. Would we be willing to consider adopting Corey? I mean, that's a no-brainer. We already made a decision, 12 hours ago. So of course, yes. And literally, December 4th, when Corey was like 9 months old, I walk into a big room, about the size of this room, and there's little Corey playing in the corner with some blocks. And I pick him up. And that's my boy. Our son Corey comes home with me. How many people understand how awesome that is? That we got the reward. We got to have a kid. And because we did, to get ready for that, it's not cheap. It's a lot of money needed to be made. And I had to sell everything that was of value in our house, which meant the bikes, which meant the skis, which meant the ski boots, the car carrier, Yakima car carrier, all the things that we had purchased over those years, being of that period of deep shallowness, we got rid of. And because of that, when we got home, I put Corey into Tanya's arms. And she got to hold a boy that she loved. And there's something magical that happens when a mom holds a baby that's just incredible. And our life went from a whole lot of shallowness to a whole lot of depth. And I hope that for y'all. Because my commando days were long gone. My tighty-whitey days of riding around in those spandex pants were long gone. I was a dad. And with my wife Tanya holding Corey, she started producing eggs that we didn't know about. And being a young couple, of course, we're rabbits. And I thought my wife was dying. She was sick. Oh my God, she was sick. My wife, even today, right now, 23 years later, I can tell you maybe 10 honest days in the last 20 plus years that she's missed work. One of them was because she had the babies. One of them was also because she had an appendicitis attack and I had to take her to the hospital. But my wife doesn't get sick, so we're home maybe 3-4 months with Corey and she's sick and I'm sure she's dying. And we went to Eleanor, who was helping us with some stuff, and I said, man, she's sick, she's dying. And she said, just take a pregnancy test and find out. And it's like, really? We can't have babies. The doctor said so. She said, I understand the doctor said so. Just take the pregnancy test. So, Corey also was a crack baby. His mom was using crack cocaine when he was in the womb, nursing him for those 9 months. She was using crack cocaine. So he was withdrawing. To us, babies meant no sleep. Corey would cry and cry and cry and rage as his body was getting rid of all of those drugs out of his system. That's what we thought babies were. So luckily, I'm a night owl, so I'm usually up until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Tanya likes to go to bed at those farmer hours, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. She's asleep. So we just split the days. And we were doing a lot of that. But there was also a lot of times where we were both just holding on to Corey as he's crying. Me and her leaned up against the wall, trying our best to sleep, holding Corey as he was just going through what he had to go through. And that's what we thought babies were. So Tanya did take the test. How many people understand what their first baby means to them and the excitement? Yeah. Tanya didn't have that excitement. She came in after the third test and said, with tears just streaming down her face, that she's pregnant. Because we thought that's what we had to go through. Elizabeth showed up. And she came home and went to bed. And we still were doing the same routine with Corey. And then all of a sudden, a little bit later, Quinn comes home. And he comes home and he goes to bed. So all of a sudden, we have 3 babies under the age of 3. And our life is full. And it's been full ever since. But through the grace of God alone, I got to meet Cookie Masbaugh, who laid out that foundation for me, that took me from that nice, wonderful commando lifestyle and showed me what it meant to start to change, to start to listen, to honestly start to reflect and think about what people were for me and what they could do for me. That I got to be good enough at that I got to meet Tanya, that allowed me to meet, together with her, Corey, Lizzie, and Quinn. Now, I am an old man. I understand that. But so was Cookie. Cookie was an old lady. Judd, the other guy that I went to, was an old man. And I wasn't. But I did get to learn from them, because they were strong enough in who they were that they could pull me back from all that commando living that was dangerous and unproductive, and got me into some good living and some wholesome living. Now, I want you to know that, believe me, I can do commando still today. You should see me on the ropes course in West Yellowstone. If y'all haven't been there, you need to go there. You should see me on the whitewater rafting on the Gallatin, because those experiences are fun, and they are commando living, and they're a blast. If you ever get a chance to go skiing with me, I hope you do, because I can still do the blues, and I dare you to keep up with me, because I am still a really, really good skier. And that's a lot of fun for me, because life is fun, or what the hell else is it for? Thanks, y'all.